Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and today I wanted to talk about a possible solution that I found for pooling periods. Now, I've talked about this quite a bit on my channel. After my surgery, when I had my rectum, my colon, and my anus removed, I had some trouble with pooling. It's a very, very frustrating side effect of this surgery, and when I shared about it online, so many people shared that they also had this issue and they don't even have the surgery. So that's why I want to keep on talking about it, come up with possible solutions, or at least things that make it a little bit easier. And I think I found one today. Before we dive into this topic, I am going to be talking about the female reproductive system and fluids and periods and all that stuff. So if that makes you uncomfortable, that is totally fine. This is probably not the video for you. And the product that I'm going to show is a little in your face about what it does, but it's actually an awesome thing, and I found it to be super helpful. So back when I had my surgery in 2019, very, very soon afterwards, I started noticing this pooling. Basically, when I had my period, I didn't have a regular flow. It kind of just all came at once, and then I wouldn't have any bleeding for a few hours to sometimes a day or two, and I still experience that to this day. It doesn't just happen with periods though, it happens with all of the normal discharge. Any fluid that is in there collects, because what happened was when my rectum was removed, the rectum provided a lot of support to the vaginal wall, and when it's not there anymore, it's not doing that. So my vagina kind of like has an outpouching. I did go to pelvic floor therapy, where the pelvic floor therapist felt this little pouching, and we worked on exercises that helped a bit, but I still experience this pooling to this day, and I've kind of learned to live with it. I've learned ways around it, and honestly, there are benefits to it. I mean, when I have my period, it really does come all at once, and then I get a break for a few hours. So when it comes to using products, if I can feel blood collecting, I can feel kind of a pressure, I can go to the bathroom and kind of relax my pelvic floor, and there it goes. And then I've got a few hours of a break, but that is not always possible. It's kind of a weird feeling. It's hard to explain. When the fluid collects in there, it's uncomfortable. It really is. So I was like, I wonder if there's something else out there. I've tried a number of different things like period cups and period discs, and they help to an extent. I've tried, tampons and stuff like that. But when I'm not on my period, they're not very comfortable to wear, but I still experience some of this pooling with the regular discharge that you have throughout the month. When I mention this discharge throughout the month, I've had some people be like, oh my gosh, it's an infection. No, not necessarily. You are supposed to have discharge throughout the month. It changes as you go through your cycle. It's completely normal, but obviously keep an eye on it, because if it comes copious or has an odor or crazy colors, could be an infection and you need to go to your doctor. I think another frustrating thing about this is when that fluid collects and I can't expel it, that's like a breeding ground, right, for infection, which obviously I don't want to have, especially on an immunosuppressant already. I would like to avoid that if possible. So I follow a few pelvic therapists online, and I don't know if the one that I follow has something to do with this company or if she just shares it online, but I first learned about this product from her. So it is called Dripstick, and as you can tell, the packaging is pretty straightforward. It is not for what I'm talking about. It is for when you have intercourse and you want to get rid of whatever's inside. I know this topic may make you a little bit uncomfortable, but it's what a lot of people experience. So this woman created this company to basically help her feel more comfortable after intercourse. It is a sponge that you insert into the vagina, and it helps to absorb excess fluid. So when I saw this, I was like, that's amazing. That's incredibly cool. Now, the the marketing for this company is it's a little in your face about it. So hopefully that doesn't deter some of you from potentially trying it. But I will show you what the sponge looks like, and I started using it and experienced a lot more comfort afterwards. So it comes in a little package like this. I got a box of 10 just to try. Let me open it up and show you. And I'll tell you how it works also. Okay, here we go. So it's just like a little spongy sponge. Let's see if I can get my, yeah, you don't need to see my face right now. Look at this sponge. So it's just a little sponge, and I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, is that going to be uncomfortable? Especially if the area is irritated. Is this going to be uncomfortable inserting? And I actually found that the sponge itself is very soft and very absorptive. Absorptive? Is that a word? Absorbative? It absorbs a lot. So I thought when I'm having discharge, whether it's from my period or just regular monthly discharge, what if I tried this to help get rid of that collection and make me more comfortable? Because I really do, I feel a heaviness with it, and I fear about infection. If I can't expel it, how am I going to do that? Sometimes I've used my pelvic floor dilators, the ones that I use from Intimate Rose, to help kind of guide the discharge out, but it's in a weird spot, so you kind of have to like move around. It's unusual, I know, but this is my experience, and I'm sure I'm not alone with this. So I started using these just a few days ago. I've actually had them for a few months, and I finally pulled them out of the closet to try them, and I was amazed. It immediately made my pelvic floor feel so much better. It just got rid of that heaviness because it absorbed the fluid that was hanging out in that pouching. Let me tell you how this works. I've got the instructions right here. So let's see. You don't want to touch the sponge when you remove from the package. You don't want to introduce anything in there that you don't want. You're going to grip the handle with one hand, and while seated, slowly and carefully insert the sponge into the vaginal canal. Maintain a grip on the handle. If insertion is difficult, wait a few moments until the fluids have reached the vaginal opening. I found that it was very comfortable inserting. I thought it was going to feel sort of like putting a tampon in at the end of your period where it's like dry, or if you're putting a tampon in without the applicator, if you just have a naked one, but it's not like that at all. Gently twist Dripstick while inserted in the vaginal canal as necessary. If you are an IUD user, it is not necessary to twist the sponge. Note, leaving the sponge in the vaginal canal for a prolonged period of time does not increase effectiveness. Use the handle to slowly and carefully remove the sponge from the vaginal canal. Do not leave the sponge in the vaginal canal for longer than 1 minute. Pee after removing the sponge. Do not reinsert the product. Dispose immediately after use. Do not reuse the product. And then it says, if excess fluid remains, repeat step 1 to 4 with an unused sponge. And it just gives the warnings. This is not meant to prevent pregnancy or infection or disease or anything like that, which obviously, if you're interested in trying a product like this, for whatever you're experiencing, if you're going to use it for what it's intended for, or if you're going to try it out for symptoms like what I have, I know it's unusual, check with your gynecologist first, make sure that it's something that they feel comfortable with you using, and check with your surgeon depending on how far out you are from surgery, if that's your cause for this issue. That's the cause for my issue. So I am far enough out of surgery, and I use tampons, so I was comfortable trying this out. And I'm impressed. I think this is a really cool thing. I think it's a potential, solution, not a long-term solution, obviously, but it can help minimize the symptoms. And if I'm going out, like tonight we're gonna go out to dinner with our friend, so I used one of these guys, and hopefully it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable for a few hours, because I'm right in that stage right before my period where I'm starting to get just the first hints of blood. So I was like, this will make me feel a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, very excited about this. I'm going to put all of the information for it below. I'll put the website and stuff. They're not sponsoring this video. They don't know who the heck I am. But I just think it's super cool. Like, it's just a nice, soft sponge. Very cool. Very cool. And I don't think it was incredibly expensive either. I don't remember what I paid for it. Like I said, I got this probably at least 2 or 3 months ago at this point. And this is what the box of 10 looks like. Yeah, you'll see from their marketing it is a little bit in your face, but that's okay. I like that they're just being open about what it is and trying to fight that stigma of not being able to talk about these issues because, you know, awkward essentials. They understand. They get it. It can be awkward, but it doesn't have to be. So, all right. This was a quick little video. I have to get ready to get going for dinner, but thank you so much for watching. You can check out the website below, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.